Hi there guys, welcome to Guitar Interactive Magazine. My name's Tom Quayle, back with another review for you. This time we're on the floor. We're looking at a cool range of Morley pedals. These are the M2 range, some of which are passive, some of which are active, meaning they need batteries. But what you've got here basically is controller pedals. So you've got volume and wah pedals. Wire and volume combined, and on the far left we've got a passive expression controller which uses voltage changes via a TRS cable to control whatever you're plugging it into. So there's a wide range of uses for that. They're pretty straightforward pedals because the construction of them is sort of a traditional back to basics kind of idea. There's nothing crazy going on here, which means reliability is always good, which is great if you're using them on the road, and they're very ruggedly built. So what I'm going to do is start on the right hand side and work my way across. So the first one we've got is a passive volume control, and I'll use this as kind of the blueprint for the others. So what I say about this one will go for the rest. Superbly well made. These are basically made out of a metal shell. There's a lower sort of housed unit, which is this box on the bottom, which houses all of the electronics, which are pretty basic. As I say, no battery required, M2 passive volume. On the top, we've got our pedal. It's a nice, when you first try these out, they feel a little bit stiff, as if they're sort of not as accurate as you might think they would be. But when you really use them, you realise actually that is enabling you to be more accurate with the control. If they were too loose, you wouldn't have quite the range of expression you've got here. But to show you the kind of control you've got, and these are used by a lot of quite famous artists as well, these pedals, so they've definitely got the reputation. As I move across, it requires a bit more action than you think it's going to pull back on the pedal. Now moving forwards, which is where you need most of the expression, is a little bit easier. So in terms of showing you what this does, obviously you know what it does, but in terms of the range of expression, if I play a chord, so it's a pretty smooth taper as I run through. There's no big jumps in volume or anything. It's a very smooth kind of sound. Again, if I do that a little bit quicker, so a really nice action. Now I can choose, obviously, with that kind of level of control, whether I want fast, where I'm just taking the attack off the note, or whether I want to swell in the sound, nice and slowly. Same with reverse. They're a little harder to control coming back the way, but not in any bad way. You know, they feel very, very solid. It actually makes you feel that they're going to last a long time, that action. They feel like they're very, very well built. So the pedal itself, in terms of how to set it up, you've got an in and out, and that's it. The only thing you need to watch with volume pedals is you run them in the right place in the chain. So if you use delays and reverbs, you can still hear the tails of the delays and reverbs. You need to run after drive pedals and compression pedals, but before delays and reverbs and anything that's got a tail to it or a time-based effect. So we've got it running into the front of my amp unit here, which has got all the effect afterwards. So as you can hear, if I back off, we get all the delay trails, and it's not sucking any of the tone. It just works really, really nicely. I don't need to bypass it or anything, because once it's up like that, it's basically passive, so it's not doing anything to the tone. The signal's just passing straight through, which is really, really great. So that's the M2 passive volume, very, very nice. A good price for the construction, not overly expensive. There are a few volume pedals out there that seem to me to be a little bit overpriced. This one's a pretty good price. Moving on, we've got the next pedal along here. This is the M2 wah volume. So this is doing two jobs. It's got the wah, which is from the M2 wah, which is to my left, and also the volume from the M2 passive volume. This one is not passive though, because the wah requires active circuitry. So a 9-volt battery. It's got a quick release battery chamber on the bottom, which makes it very easy to kind of switch the battery in and out. Or you can use a 9-volt in, which we've done here, and it's a standard center negative DC 9-volt, so nothing crazy. To switch between the two, we press this pedal, and then there's a level control for the wah, in case you need to have a boost at the same time as using the wah. So when the pedal is off, i.e. the LED is not on, it's a volume pedal. It's just working in passive mode, basically. So the same as the passive volume, so no tone sucking at all. And it has exactly the same action. Really nice smooth taper, no jumps in volume at all. And again, the same kind of feel in terms of the action. A little stiff when you first start using it, but it's actually great for control. So if we switch the wah on, first thing I'll do, I'll just change the level a little bit. And because of the type of amp we're running through here, you can hear that boosting the front end and it's adding more tube saturation. That's great, that's worked really nicely as a kind of transparent boost to push the amp into saturation. If I set that back to the middle, now here's the wah, really nice wah, this got a great tone. How's that for a sweep? That's fantastic. Really vocal, so if I... Works great on single notes. Really, really nice sound. Very effective either in front of an overdriven amp or a clean amp. You can hear we've got a little bit of overdrive there. If I boost now and use the wah, if I roll the volume up on my guitar, it helps. Great sound, really, really good. And again, the construction is as good as it is on the passive volume. Obviously, it's the same kind of housing. Turn that off. Okay, so moving over to the M2 wah now, which is just the wah portion of the wah volume. And I really like the fact you can combine the two in the wah volume pedal as well. So the single wah, again, we turn it on and off, just like that, basically. We've got a little bit of power noise, but that's not the pedal. It's just we've got so much stuff plugged in the studio. Same setup, basically. 9-volt power supply in and out, level control, and then switch on and off. Some people prefer that kind of optical thing where you step on the wah to engage it, but I like this old school kind of switching on and off. You know exactly where you are, then basically the light's either on or it's not. So if I switch it on, again what you'll hear really, really nice sounding wah, great vocal range on it. And again, the boost does exactly the same thing. So if we push the boost higher, or the level I should say, set that half-cocked wah kind of thing. It's pushing the front end of the amp into overdrive, which is great, really, really nice. So the final one on the left-hand side here is the M2 passive voltage control expression pedal. What that means, basically, again, no battery required, unlike the wah pedals, same as the passive volume. This basically outputs voltage control signals, which will work with any effects unit or pedal that will take basically an expression pedal that works via voltage control. And it's a little bit like the volume pedal in that it's just sending continuous data basically that allows you to control pretty much anything you want. So I've actually got this plugged into an ActFX 2 and I've set it to control the speed of tremolo on my ActFX. So if I switch the tremolo on, because right now it isn't on, there we go, so now it's on, you'll hear at the moment with the pedal backed off all the way, what we've got is a stereo TRS jack. Which basically, you can't use a normal jack cable for this, you need a stereo one, which has got the two black rings on the tip. So when you play, basically we've got the slowest possible tremolo speed here. It's going to take a while to come in and out, so we get this. Hopefully you can hear that swelling in and out. Now, as I move the pedal, Okay, so you can hear what that's doing there, and you can assign that to pretty much anything within your effects unit that you want that will work with our voltage control. So really useful. The only thing, again, I would say with the whole range of these pedals is that as you pull back on them, you feel there's slightly less accuracy. I was using my left foot there, which is rubbish at using controller pedals anyway. But even with my right foot, I'm noticing as I push down, it's easier to control the pedal than pushing back on the pedal. So something to be aware of. I think they take a little bit of getting used to compared to some of the other pedals that have got a looser sort of action. However, having said that, that gives you slightly more control as you're pushing down. Which is often where the most control is required. So fantastic units, well priced because they're passive. Well, they took the volume and the expression pedal anyway. And the wahs sound great. They've got this really great vocal sound to them, a nice wide sweep on them. Just real simple units, back to sort of basics. You know, they're going to last a long time. There's very little to go wrong in them. So well made. Check them out. It's the Morley M2 range. We've got the expression, 2 wahs with the volume control combined, and then the passive volume. Hope you've enjoyed the review, and I will see you next time.
If you've enjoyed this program, you'll definitely want to check out Guitar Interactive. This free 200-page online guitar magazine is available now at iGuitarMag.com. And if the performances on this show have inspired you to improve your playing techniques, then head on over to licklibrary.com for some free guitar lessons and great jam tracks.